Tea time with E. These unconscious biases. But again, while you're deconstructing these unconscious biases, you don't need to let me know. You know what I'm saying?
I don't need your every thought process.
That in future interactions with me, or with you. Like, I don't need to be like, oh man, like, yeah, remember when they told me like they were trying to stop being racist? No, if you're actively working towards deconstructing unconscious racism, I will see that. I'll eventually, your actions will reveal that, you know? So, girl, I could go. I
want to pose a question though. Sorry if I'm hiding. I also feel it's something that I was also seeing, like, we also saw the other side of that, where people were like calling every little thing racism, or calling any little thing somebody breathed in their direction, like, oh, this person needs to be canceled, or da 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 da. I definitely feel like we had also a lot of extremists. And I feel like it's because of those extremists, we also get this reaction when people feel like they have to walk around eggshells on us. Like, there needs to be a way that we can talk about racism and also let people know that these, in order for us to get over that hump about racism, hard conversations are going to happen. And if you don't let those hard conversations, people can just be like, this is how I grew up, and this is what I learned, and I'm trying to come talk to you, or trying to like have a space where I can understand, because understanding is not going to come if you don't let them like talk freely. Like, if everything they open their mouth like, oh, you're racist, cancel them, get off the, like, take away all their endorsements. Like, I feel like there has to be, like, we also in ourselves have a part to play, like, in not being extremists. Like, I don't know if you're what I'm making sense. Like, I feel like there's some Black people who like are just waiting for this any little thing to call racist and call this. Well, in itself, it may be steeped in racism, but I have to understand that white people just like they grew up in homes where they may not have understood. So if somebody comes to you in confidence and be like, "Hey, Elaine, like I just really trying to understand," and what they might be saying is off-putting, the thing to say not to say, "Oh, you're canceled," da da da, like acknowledge, like, you know what you're saying is off-putting, and what you're saying is saying like, this is how it's perceived, and educate. Then if they still refuse to do that, then you can take the next step further, but not making it a space where they feel like they can't even say anything in your presence without it being like, you're canceled, you're racist, or you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like we all ourselves also had a part to play, and I feel like there were definitely a lot of extremists that were shown during this 2020 as well.
I definitely agree with you, Chioma. Especially, for instance, in the work environment for me. I had a patient that was he was white, dementia patient. I don't know why dementia patients, once they get to a certain stage of dementia, they just want to be racist. But he was calling everybody the N-word. He was just cursing everybody out. And I had a charge nurse who was white, and she gave me the patient, and I was like, I don't feel like being disrespectful. Like, I don't feel like doing that today. And I feel like that's a very reasonable request. To a different patient. And she was like, no, but he doesn't mean anything by it. He's demented, and he just doesn't. No, it's kind of funny, really.
That is a problem. That right there is a problem. Yeah.
Like, completely disregarding my feelings, completely disregarding the situation, and like putting me in a situation that I mean, obviously it's not about me not being able to take care of the patient, but it's also about, one point, I have to put my mental health first, and like my emotional well-being, because at one point being called the N-word all day will get you, no matter if they or if they don't. Being called B-word, Black, whatever, like that will get you. Have you guys kind of
lost it all day? Because for me, the one time I cried the first time I ever called the N-word. I'm mad how you last the whole day, because I broke down after the first one.
And that's the thing is like,
yeah.
But what bothered me is she would come check on me. Like she'd be like, "Hey, are you doing okay?" Like, no, you know I'm not doing okay because you disrespected my wishes.
Did you reach your racial slur threshold? How are you hanging in there?
I was here. I was past threshold. I was like, I can't come back for another week. Give me some days off. I need mental health because it just
right.
It no matter how the situation, it's always gonna be hard. But have you guys been in instances where racially you just could not do it in the workplace?
I don't think I've gotten.
Yeah, definitely have. But I'm gonna answer your question, but put also a little bit of a spin to it. Another thing that I also felt during this Black Lives Matter was that definitely that I felt very African, if that makes sense. Because yes, we are part of the diaspora, and yes, we are, Black, considered Black, but there were things that I honestly could not relate to, or things the way that we were brought up, which was, okay, somebody, in your house, you'd be growing up people be calling you a goat and all these different things in your house. It sounds like something says anything crazy to you, just put your head down and continue doing what you're doing. So there were a lot of instances that happened at work where people were saying things, and then people put me aside like, how did you let them say that to you? And I was like, I wasn't even paying attention because I've already learned to just turn my ears off and keep doing what I needed to do. So then I started feeling guilty, like, man, why am I not as reactive? And it's like, yo, no, this is the way we were raised. Because I remember our parents like, oh, don't go anywhere and fight. Just someone says something to you, just keep your head down and keep doing what you need to do. And not to say that African Americans aren't raised like that, but I feel like us as Africans, we were raised in a different way, and we're also raised like, to align with the white man. If the white man is saying so long as you just hold on to his coattails, and he'll take you up to glory. Like you know what I'm saying? Like, so it also like really opened my eyes. Like, yo, like I'm Black, but I'm actually African. I'm African Black, and I'm not to say that we're, I don't consider myself Black, but it also brought the thing like I myself also have privilege that I didn't realize I have. I myself have privilege. Like and I always can't relate. Like I don't know anybody that's gone to jail in my family. I don't know anybody that's been harassed by the police. I see little things of like racism, like in stores, and I've been followed different things like that. But like the things that African Americans who are like Black African Americans growing up in this, like who are families, their generations have been through this in America, like their situation is even a little bit different than mine. So I had to learn to take a thing of empathy because as Africans, I feel like we're just learning, somebody says to you, let it go over their head. They didn't kill you and keep moving forward. Don't even pay attention or anything like that. And okay, but I mean, let's be honest. We're also raised to align more to white people than actually the Black people. Let's be honest. So I really had to check my own privilege and learn how to be more empathetic. Yeah.
Girl.
Because it was like, people were like, why'd you not? And I'd be like, why are you so upset? Like, just get over it. Like, we're here to work to do the job. I don't care what someone said. I'm here to do my job. And they would just look at you like, but I was going like, you know what? That was effed up what he said. He shouldn't have said that to you. I'm sorry you feel that way. Here's how we can move past this though. Like, you have a job to do. Let's buckle our heads down and we will be each other's support system, but let's get these tasks done. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to let what so-and-so said, like, impede me from doing what I was hired to do. But in doing that, I can also tie that with empathy. And I think that's what people of the different diaspora, like whether it's Caribbeans, Africans, or African Americans, we all need to know that we are all Black. We also need that we all in ourselves have our own bits of privilege, and we need to learn how to be empathetic to each other. And that's honestly the only way we're going to unite and move forward. But yeah, like it was hard, but I also had to realize like I don't react to those things the same ways others may do.
Right. Yep.
Y'all went to academy your whole life. We've all been in protective bubbles. Like, honestly. Yeah, there was racism along the way, but like the racism of things that we are facing, like some people are looking at us as if we're living our best life. I can't even complain to some people in front. I really didn't have those like Lisa Frank folders I wanted when I grew up. Some people didn't even have folders, okay? Their school system was messed up, but we went to the best schools.
It's actually really funny because I talked about this in a podcast that I did with Lindsay. And it was actually last year around May. And I kind of really talked about how I felt like I kind of have two different identities because like I have like my Malawian identity, which is, you know, like that's how I grew up, Malawian household. But when I go to school, like I'm American, but I'm Malawian American. So like I'm black, but like a lot of my friends would be like, but you're not really black. But like we all have different experiences. And growing up, you know, I had, you know, Mama Mercy over there would be like, okay, like keep your head down, keep focused in your books. Don't go hang out with, you know, these kind of people over in the this kind of ghetto or whatnot, you know, kind of just trying to, again, I'm black, but like I'm not black. You know what I'm saying? It was just a very different struggle. I feel like you were saying is like being African, I feel like there is some type of privilege. Being African, I don't think it was ever a thought that I wouldn't go to college. I don't think it was ever a thought that I couldn't get a second degree. I don't think it was ever a thought that I wouldn't get a job because of my skin color. You know what I'm saying? It was always like, you work hard. We worked hard to get you in this position. You went to private school. We worked hard to put you in private school. You know, keep quiet, put your head down, focus on your books, study hard. But again, don't
go by Nise, go by Elaine. Like they like
exactly. There is like different, and you kind of woke me up a little bit, Chioma, because you're right. Yeah. Like there's so much to the African diaspora that like empathy is the biggest thing.
Right.
Like Black Lives Matter, but like I'm black, but like am I really black or like you know what I'm saying? Like it was like my mom was like, oh no, that could never be my son. Girl, it could never be your son. You think they're gonna ask what kind of name he has before they shoot?
Right. Yeah, he's not even gonna open his mouth. Yeah.
They're like they're gonna see your skin color. That's all they see, skin color. They don't care. Shoot.
Right.
So I think breaking down also those unconscious like biases. Whew.
And I think, and I think empathy again, like I said, needs to go all around because we all have our own struggles. Because at the same time, even if you want to talk about it, immigrants can also like, yo, like I came here and I was being treated like crap. I can't even use my own native name because I can't get a job either because of the way my name looks or different things like that. So it's like we all are going through the struggle in our own ways. But I feel like a lot of us say, well, you're not going to struggle like me, so you're not black, or you're not going to struggle like me, so you're because you had a little like no, like we all like if you're really sit down and listen to your parents and they tell you how they struggled to get to where they are, you will cry. Because I definitely cried when I was way my parents were telling the things they had to do just to put themselves through school and make it better for themselves. Like you will definitely shed tears when you hear the things your parents did to make sure that you stood in this country. So we all have our own hardships, all of us. And I think that's what we need to realize. Like, no, yeah, the struggle might be different and I might have privilege in this area, but we are all treated the same. And we just need to have empathy toward each other. And so we can bind together as one. Bind us together, love, bind us together.
It's so great to really just break down and like really think about it. Because I genuinely get emotional when I think about my dad, because my dad was actually one of the first Malawian pioneers in Berrien Springs. Like a lot of like, when he passed away, a lot of like Malawians were like, he was like one of the people that inspired us to come here. You know what I'm saying? To kind of proving that like, hey, if I can do it, you can do it too. So he always instilled in me, don't you ever let these white people make you feel like you can't do something.
Right.
You know, he was always like, because you can do anything you put your mind to. You can do anything, 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 anything. If you want to get an education, go get an education. You know, it was never a thought that I would not be great. So I don't know. Ellen, sorry. You know what? Do you have any?
Right, we just yapping away. Go ahead.
That just tore me. You hear me? Wrecked me. Anyways, come to Ellen.
I even forgot the question. So I feel like of the three of us, I feel like my experiences are quite different, because I mean we all grew up in the church, you know, Berrien Springs, woot woot. But then no, she okay. Oh yeah, you're Niles. I forgot.
269. Oh, we're all 269. Never mind. Yeah. Whatever.
683. What is it? 685.
49102. No, 49120. Anyway, Ellen, go ahead. Why are you trying to shame me? Why are you trying to shame me on the internet? Go ahead.
You were volunteering the information, so I just figured I'd let you finish. But after school, I went and I worked within the church. Whereas, like, for you guys, you were out like in the secular world, you know? And so I feel like
go ahead and hit the streets.
Most of my professional life has been underneath the church umbrella. And while there is racism within the church, it's not been to the extent that you would find elsewhere. And so in this job where I am now, this is my first, like, I consider real job, you know, and there's been like a few instances with like coworkers where it was more so like my Africanness that seems to be an issue. So like for one time I got introduced to there was a new employee being brought around, and they were going around introducing people, and they were like, and this is Miss Washington, and I was like, no, I'm not Miss Washington. And they were like, oh yeah, she's the one with the funny sounding name. And I was like, it's not a funny sounding name. I'm like, just because you can't pronounce it doesn't mean it's a funny sounding name. Or another one who was like, why do you spell your name like that if you're not going to pronounce all the letters? And had to, like, you know, well, there's a K in knife and we don't pronounce the K. Like, what's the issue? It's my name, you know, get over it.
I hate that.
Right. And so I feel like it's been more like the difference I have felt has been more so because I'm African, or because of my age. I feel like those two issues have been the things that have caused me more issues at work versus like just being Black, you know, which I guess the Africanness is sort of tied together, but I don't know. I feel like I haven't really had very many experiences that I could put my thumb on and be like, you know, this happened and this happened and this happened. So I feel like in that regard, I've been quite fortunate. You know, that's my thing.
I definitely feel that with the African, the Africanness.
Yeah.
And maybe you could even say that we get it from both sides. We get it about being Black, but you also get it about being from, you know, being first generation, or like, girl, don't even get me started on the name thing. Don't even get started on the name thing. Because literally every day I walk into work, we have to do a COVID symptom checker, and there's somebody checking off our names, and they'll hire volunteers, and they're like, every day, I'm not even gonna try with this one.
Every time.
I'm like, it's Chioma. And that's even a whitened version of how to say my name, honestly. But yeah, it's Chioma. And every day I come in, can you just say the whole name? You just say it so beautifully. Just say it. Okay. Well, oh man, I can't. And I'm like, do you have a nickname? Ma'am, my name is only 6 letters, 3 syllables. If you can pronounce Schwarzenegger, okay, Pulowski, okay, all these big names. You can pronounce Chioma,
Gronkowski. You can pronounce Chioma.
Jurgonski. Like, if you can pronounce all these Polish, all these different, these K's and Z's and Q's,
all these consonants all close together.
And the thing about African names, a lot of is that every letter actually is pronounced. Like it's very, and I know African is not a language, but you find in most countries that it's a very phonetic language. That they're not going to place a letter there if the letter is not going to be pronounced with whatever their alphabet is. So like just hearing that, like, or like, I had somebody ask, how did your parents come up with a name like Chioma? And I'm like, they're Nigerian. Like,
ma'am.
Like, they're Nigerian. They came it up because it was their mother tongue. Like, what do you like? And also, I feel like our names have such deep meanings. Okay, my friend, what is a Brad? Okay, what is a Brad mean?
Wow.
What does Chioma means God is good. Like, come on, like, you literally cannot say my name without praising God. Like, you could be like, Chioma is stupid, but you're still saying praise God. So it cancels out the stupid. My dear, like, who has the better name? Who has the better name?
Oh gosh, yeah.
Ejiofor means the embodiment of justice and righteousness. Come on, I'm heavenly. Like, I'm telling you, because
just saying your name brings some type of anointing.
You don't saying Chioma says God, you're bringing blessings upon yourself because you proclaim the goodness of God.
And yet you want to mispronounce it every time.
Or ask me if does God have a nickname?
I can't with you.
I mean, so like I remember growing up, I used to hate my name. I used to hate it and wanted it to sound as white as, so, you know, those who really know me, like who've known me from the day one, they call me either Choma or Chomes, because I was trying to, like, no, your girl was trying to be whitewashed, okay? Like, picket fence. Like, this girl, that's how white I was. Choma? Yeah. And my middle name is Nena. I'm like, yeah, it's Nina.
Hey, Jesus.
But then I got to I just bro, when you really learn the meanings of your name, names are identity, and identity means so much. Like, you can take everything away from it. You cannot take my identity. You cannot take my name. Like, and my name, as for Africans, a lot of times when they're naming you, they're speaking over your life. And I can definitely say, Chioma, like, God is good. Like, that's what I've seen over my, don't let me start preaching up here.
Somebody, she's on fire. She's on fire.
Know, right? So honestly, I love my name. I love African names. I will name my kids African names. If I survive, they will survive. Okay. So, and it's not to say that anybody has I don't look down at anybody who has an American name, because I understand we know the struggle that when people see their name on the paper that they toss it to the side. And if I can help my child become help them assimilate easier, I don't knock any parent for doing that. I just love my African name.
Yeah, I love mine too.
What does Nise mean?
Nise is just a name. I think that's actually a name, my grandma's name. My dad.
Okay.
But Convazana means listen to the children.
Listen to we are the world.
So
we are
Elaine Convazana, come on, the name. I'm telling you, I really love.
Right.
I had to grow into my name as well because
right.
I didn't. I'm like, Mom, why would you guys name me Nisa? Or Nisa? But people, they even to this day, they don't even try to pronounce it. So something that I've really gotten into is correcting them every single time.
Right.
I'm not just gonna let you call me Mincy. People will try Mincy. No, it's Nise. And she's this girl's like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm like, it's okay, just get it right.
Right.
Yeah, I used to keep track of all the ways people butchered my last name. And somewhere I have that file on my computer, but I mean, it has been butchered and added and yeah.
What does your name mean?
So Ellen, I am named after my dad's mom.
Mm-hmm.
So, which is how traditionally it goes. The first daughter and the first son are named after the father's parents. And then the next set are named after the mother's parents. So I am my mom's mom. And then my middle name, Wangoi, I know it's one of the daughters of our tribe, the Kikuyu tribe, Beyond that, I don't really know much more, but I know that there's like 7 daughters and like Wango is one of them. And so that's my middle name.
You know what Bungu means?
I do not. I need to ask my dad that. I feel like at one point he told us, but like it was in the midst of all his like historical journey kind of sessions, and it got lost. It got lost somewhere in the middle there of all the information. But I know that he sort of like Americanized it when he came, just because it could be easier to pronounce. So I know the way I pronounce it and the way like they taught us to pronounce it growing up isn't necessarily how you pronounce it, because there's missing like accent marks and things like that. If I remember it correctly. So
right. You know, Ellen, that you are your walking family tree. Like you carry your family's history, not even just in your genes, but even in your name. That I am part of this family, and I represent one of the 7 daughters of the Kikuyu tribe. Like that in itself is also powerful. Ooh. Go ahead, you history book. Yes.
Get my book.
I'm gonna call you off tree.
Yeah. Right, go off tree, spread your branches. Yes.
I was gonna make a weird no. I'm not gonna do that. But yeah. So it's and it's nice because like when my mom and dad are in their like really endearing moments of the day, my dad will be like, "Where's my mom? Where's my mom?" And I'm like, "I'm right here," So it's really nice.
I love that we were both named after our dad's mom.
Yeah.
I was named after my dad's. Nenna's my dad's mom's name too. Oh, Nenna literally. Right. Yeah. Daddy's girls.
So my last question for you guys is, what is some advice that you want to give to future Black girls that are pursuing your profession?
That's a good one.
That even if you don't see anyone that looks like you, don't stop. Like, be the person that somebody behind you can look at. Like, be your own motivation. Even though as you're going through, you don't see people who look like you, know that whatever you do now will help people behind you coming. And so every step you make, and not to put on pressure on yourself, but every step you make is a step for the people coming behind you.
Yeah. I think maybe just like affirming that they are needed. Because way too many times, like even just this morning, I had somebody say, "Yeah, I really want to go to counseling, but I have put off going to counseling because I can never find somebody who looks like me." And saying like, "Is it okay for me to go and ask if they have a Black therapist?" And I'm like, "Yeah, if that's what you're looking for, ask them, don't feel afraid that you're gonna seem like racist or prejudiced. Like, you want somebody who looks like you, who can understand your struggle." And so for other Black girls and boys coming up in the profession, sometimes you doubt, like, is there a place for me? Like, will I really make a difference? Like, yeah, you'll make a difference. Like, you are very much in demand, and people are unfortunately putting off their well-being because they cannot find people who look like them who can help them.
Yeah. Right. People are waiting for you.
Right. Yeah.
Honestly, truly.
Yeah.
Honestly, truly.
Wow.
So yeah, and I know, like, I had one lady and I was talking with her and she was like, "Can you be my therapist?" And I was like, "Unfortunately, like, I can't. That's not my job." And she was kind of like, "Oh," because she's been looking for a Black female social counselor and she could not find one. And I felt so bad that I couldn't direct her to somewhere where I knew she could find somebody who looked like her. So, or they'd be like, "I want to come to your clinic and like I want all my stuff to be taken care of in this clinic, but like you guys don't have what I'm looking for in certain parts of the clinic." So, and thankfully I have a boss who knows and understands that that's a need and is trying to fill it. But there's just not many people out there who look like us who are applying for jobs like that, so we gotta get more.
Absolutely. I absolutely love it, and I agree. I think representation matters.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to that little future black nurse over there, girl, just keep swimming.
Yeah.
That honestly, don't
Honestly.
let these people tell you you can't do anything because you
Right.
can do anything you want to do. So
Right.
don't stop, just keep swimming.
Right.
So I just want to say, y'all, thank you so much for being a part of my video and just for having this conversation with me. It really just, you guys pour into my spirit probably every time we talk. So this conversation just, whew, you hear me? But I think you guys are phenomenal, and I'm just so honored to be your friend because you guys are killing the game. And honestly, you are creating spaces for the people who will come after you.
Mm-hmm.
And I never want you guys to doubt that or just or not believe in yourself because you guys are really doing the darn thing.
My
So,
killing the game was the game killing me. That's
Hey, sometimes a little of both.
No, but I feel you. Thank you so much, Elaine.
Yeah.
It's really interesting to see because I remember when this thing that you were doing right now was just like it was like on paper. Like you know what I'm saying? Like you talked about you wanted to do that and you've really come out here and you've done it and you've put together topics and things like that. And I've definitely seen your growth. So like you also, you're killing the game, continue killing the game, continue paving the way for those little chocolate girls coming behind you who will find East Corner as they're studying to be a nurse and realize, you know what, I was feeling down, but I watched East Corner and she gave me the motivation to keep pushing through.
All right.
thank you guys. But thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Remember, just keep swimming, okay?
Honestly.
Love you all. Bye.
Bye. Keep time with me.